We're joined now by Matthew Bryza. He's a former White House and senior State Department official. He was in the Obama administration. And Matthew, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Julia. Great to be with you.
I'd love to talk about where we are in basically the presidential election campaign. 3 weeks to go. It's interminable. It's never going to end. But we're already seeing Kamala Harris, that big sort of boost to her appeal when she first was announced as the candidate. Everyone was just going crazy about the vibes and Kamala. Yeah, people are seeing more of her, and it's not quite working out quite as well. But let's face it, it's still neck and neck, everything to play for. But the latest big story is that she's been accused of plagiarising various people in the book that helped launch her political career way back when. This book basically is called it's Smart on Crime, a career prosecutor's plan to make us safer. But what's interesting is one of the people she's accused of plagiarising, this is way back in 2009, astonishing, is Martin Luther King. So what did she actually claim was a story of her own that perhaps wasn't?
Yeah, it was a story of when she was a youngster and some relative or someone asked her, what does she most care about? And she said she couldn't pronounce the R, so she said freedom. And apparently Martin Luther King told a similar story about a young girl who was asked the same question, and she said freedom. Not able to say freedom. Yeah, that is incredibly similar. Yeah, that's
very similar. And this was basically, her parents were very much involved in the civil rights movement. She was always being sent, taken along by her parents in her buggy to these sort of demonstrations. So she might have heard these things. But what's interesting is after the first claims that this was plagiarism, because this was something that Martin Luther King had told, a story he'd told, although not about himself, she told it about herself, was that after this came out, this story was on her website, in her biography on her website, and it's been removed, which suggests that maybe they're not standing by it anymore.
Well, I think it does suggest that. Also, there are other bits of plagiarism that for example, CNN did verify. They're kind of minor, though. It's like, they cited the text verbatim of a press release, and then in a footnote said they were using the press release, but they didn't put quotation marks around it. So that's coming out and being affirmed. And what's just interesting
and taking those, I think there's whole sections which basically copy and pasted from Wikipedia.
Yeah, also. Yeah, also that, yeah.
I think our own Chancellor Rachel Reeves has been accused of doing that as well. Now, does any of that really matter?
Well, that's what I was just about to say. It's not resonating. It did matter, as you recall, when then presidential candidate and Senator Joe Biden had to quit the 1987-88 presidential race when he was shown to have plagiarized, of all people, Neil Kinnock, right, the former labor leader. Mm-hmm. But no, it doesn't seem to be resonating. Look, this is one of the closest elections ever. It's going to be decided in the 7 battleground states. The last election, I think what was it? Was Biden won by like 7 million national votes across the country, but like 44,000 votes among 3 different individual states. So that's where we are right now. Everybody has made up their mind, practically everybody, on Trump or not Trump. It's not so much or Harris. There are just a few voters out there that maybe aren't decided, maybe Republicans who are turned off by Trump. But the real question is now, can you motivate more people to vote?
Well, that's the thing, because I'm wondering, actually, if this is going to be decided not by those voters. I mean, the electoral college is different from the actual individual vote, and that's been up for debate many times, but that's the system everyone's working in. But it may well be that it's actually decided, just as our election was really here in the UK back in July, by the people who don't turn out to vote at all. You already have far lower turnouts than most of the Western world do in their elections. But if lots of people are just going, I don't like Kamala, I don't like Trump, I'm not sure. I mean, I think for the first time I might be one of those people if I was an American, because I think Kamala is such a poor candidate, but I'm no fan of Donald Trump. But I think on balance, given that I think you ought to vote, I would be someone who would never normally think this, that I would vote Trump, because I think she is such a poor candidate. And it doesn't matter how many times the CNNs and the New York Times tell me she's brilliant. You can see for your own eyes and hear with your own ears that she isn't a good candidate.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is really unfortunate the way she was selected through effectively a coronation rather than a primary. I think that was a big mistake.
Well, when there was a primary, she didn't get selected for a reason in 2020, because she was such a poor candidate.
Yeah, she didn't even make it through the first actual primary, in fact. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. And more, I think, problematic for her right now is that recently there have been more new Republican registrations to vote in this election than Democrat. suggests a certain momentum, maybe. And the Democrats are nervous. They're always nervous, but they are nervous. And the conventional wisdom has been over the last few elections that the Democratic candidate to win needs to have a significant lead, like up 5 to 7 percentage points nationally, to have that lead translate in the Electoral College or state. And it's neck and neck.
It's going to be absolutely fascinating to watch. I'm just hoping we do get a result within, I don't know, 24 hours or, 24 days. That would be nice for an American presidential election. I hope you'll speak to us again before we actually get to that final election date. Matthew Bryza, former White House official who's in the Obama administration. Quick thoughts on this from Tom Slater. I mean, talking about the plagiarism, I mean, a lot of them do that. Does it really matter? Or does it just play into this whole, she's just fake?
She is. That story was just naff. I remember she originally told it to like an Elle magazine profile and she got rinsed for it at the time because before anyone caught on where the story might have come from, they just thought, come on, this sounds made up.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a reminder, aside from anything else, that whether she's a plagiarist or not, she's really naff. Yeah. And I think that's come to the fore.
I mean, I genuinely just look at people and think, I think she's just not up to the job.